Do you ever find yourself tripping over the rhythm of a song? Maybe you're falling behind or rushing ahead and you just can't quite get the hang of the constant kind of 8th note chugging bass lines? Hi, I'm Luke from Become a Bassist, and in this video you're going to learn how to make your timing super solid so you can sail through just about any bass line with great timing and the confidence that goes with that. Welcome to Become a Bassist, where it's all about insanely practical, no BS bass lessons designed to get you playing better bass, having more fun, and becoming the best bassist you can be. And today, we're going to get your timing super tight. Now, a while ago, I got an email from a student of mine named Joel, who was having problems staying in time during the Van Halen song, Ain't Talking About Love. And it features this super repetitive bass line that kind of chugs, or, pumps 8th notes the whole way through the song. The song sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. There's a couple of other variations, but that's basically the whole song. And just as a side note, Van Halen also plays this song with the instruments tuned down a half step, so if you try and play this in standard tuning with the actual song, it's not going to sound the best. But since the bass line is super repetitive, it seems like it should be easy, right? But what Joel noticed was that if he made a single trip up and kind of got out of the rhythm while he's playing with his band, it would have this knock-on effect. So, the drummer would, mess up after Joel did, and then the guitarist, and then before you know it, the whole band has kind of lost its groove. Now, obviously, we want to avoid this kind of thing from happening. So how can we dodge those, disapproving looks from the drummer? The first thing we can do to get like a really tight rhythmic feel, especially on those chugging, pumping 8th note lines, is to get super well acquainted with your metronome, or even better, some drum backing tracks if you haven't already done this kind of thing. If you can get really locked in with a drum track, you should find it relatively easy to transfer that practice into playing along with, a recording or a real life drummer. Now, your practice time is totally going to pay off when you can get through the whole song with no trip-ups. So let's actually use that Van Halen bass line, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do to get your playing in shape. We're going to be playing with a few different backing tracks with various speeds, so click the link in the description below to download the free tracks, plus a tab for this song so you can play along for yourself. First things first, and this is where some people can get tripped up a little bit, is that you need to start with a comfortable speed. Starting slow and then building up to the faster tempos, that is the surefire way to achieving consistency in your rhythm and timing. If you can't play a bass line, in a clean, confident way at, 60 beats per minute, then a faster tempo, it's not going to happen. It's going to feel like a marathon. Your hands are going to give out. Your timing's going to be all over the place. All the things we want to avoid. So let's start slow. So first thing we're going to do is pull up our first backing track, which is just a super solid drum beat at 80 beats per minute. And before you even start playing, make sure you're feeling really comfortable counting along with the drums and with the, feeling the pulse of the music. So this is our backing track. This is what our drum's going to be playing. We're in 4/4. We're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 beats you're counting in the bar. And if you want to count your 8th notes as well, you'll be counting 8 beats in the bar, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just like that, right? If you can't, sing and clap in time with the track just by itself, then that's a great step before we even start playing the bass line. But when we do get to the bass line, we're going to play something like this. 2, 3, 4. So we get A, G, E, C, B, C, A. G, E, C, B, C, A. Yeah? I'm going to do it one more time, but also count out loud now, so it's super clear which beats each of the notes fall in the bar. So let's do that one more time, just counting out loud. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Yeah? Now, if you can do this, if you can count quietly while you're getting used to a new part, you'll be super aware of where you are on the bar, and that means that if you do, make a little rhythmic mistake, then you'll know exactly where you are and you can just jump back in at the start of the next bar. And by the way, like I said, the tracks I'm using in this video are available to download for free on becomeabassist.com. Just click that first link in the description to get them so you can practice these ideas for yourself. We only have really 5 different changes where we have to play something different. Now our A is on beat 1, bar 1. Our G is on beat 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, the G right there. Now the E is almost like a little throwaway note just before our first C, and that first C is on the end of beat 2 in the second bar, and we hold that until beat 4 where we play that B followed by the C on the end of 4. So our important notes fall on beat 1, beat 4, and then the and after 2, and then the and after 4. And I've put a few variations that you can find in the recording in the PDF, again, that you can download from the link in the description, but that's roughly what we're working with. We are mostly just chugging those 8th notes, but that held C is something that breaks the repetition up. We have to focus on how long to hold that note so we can get back to, pumping those 8th notes on beat 4. So I'll play through that again. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 yeah? It might actually feel a little bit strange at first to change on the G of beat 4 of the first bar rather than beat 1 of the second bar. Like, most other songs would kind of do that. But if you're counting it out loud or just counting beat 4 out loud, that's going to help you get comfortable with that change. So you might go 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? It's often these slightly, less than straightforward changes that can trip you up in a song and kind of knock you off the horse. You can also emphasize the count of the and after beat 2 in bar 2, where we change to that C and hold that long note there. So you might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and. Yeah, you're really emphasizing that 2 and just to really ingrain it. And then of course you can emphasize 4 and as well. So 4 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, just like that. Just going to make you a lot more comfortable with where in the bar things are changing. Once you're comfortable with the part and you can play it through with the whole drum track without any trip ups, then it's time to move on to our next track, which is a bit faster at 120 beats per minute. Now, as we're going to gradually increase the speed, we want to make sure our technique is nice and consistent. Everything feels super comfortable throughout. So this is our 120 beats per minute. And to make sure you're staying nice and consistent, it's a good idea to check in on your plucking hand. If you're using your fingers to, walk like alternating fingers, make sure they are actually alternating consistently, changing between like middle and index all the time. It's going to make it much easier if your fingers are sharing the load rather than one just taking all the notes by itself. And this bass line, if you're doing this alternating fingers, it's definitely going to build your stamina and the muscle memory in your plucking hand. If you like to use a pick, then that's totally cool too. You can play the part with just downstrokes or alternating strokes. Just make sure you're not tensing up your wrist too much. The notes should sound nice and even in length and volume. That's all downstrokes. Let's try alternating. Yeah? Either way is going to be fine. Now there's definitely a different sound to only playing downstrokes versus alternating, but alternating can often be a little bit easier on the wrist for really fast songs. But now, you can really take your time working up to the faster speeds. That's something I haven't mentioned yet. It's not a race. The most important thing is that you don't feel like you're rushing or you're dragging. You want to feel like you're playing exactly on the beat. Now, I'm working through these tracks kind of quickly for the sake of the video, but if you're practicing in your own time, take as long as you need on all of them. Play through the backing tracks multiple times, comfortably before moving on to the next ones. And you can actually use these backing tracks to practice, any song, any exercise, since slowly increasing the tempo is a great way to master the timing of just about any song. Now, if you feel like you've mastered playing at that speed, step it up to the track's original tempo of 139 beats per minute. Now, if you've worked your way all the way up to this tempo, you'll notice that your playing is going to be 100 times more controlled. So instead of going in, cold, just to the full speed thing. So that is going to sound a bit more like this. 2, 3, 4. Yeah? Now, if you find that you go up in speed, but things don't feel good yet in your hands, or you're still stumbling around rhythmically, then that's a good signal that you need to spend a little bit more time on the slower tempos. Now, I get it. It can be very tempting to jump straight into the faster ones, but I guarantee you it's going to be way more worthwhile to nail things at the slower tempo before you level up. Now, starting slowly and gradually ramping up the speed, it's not the sexiest or maybe the most mind-blowing method around, but is it effective? Yes. Does it work? Absolutely, no question about it. But there is one extra thing you can do though to make sure that the practice time you spend by yourself actually translates to music making, when you get to play with others at a jam session or a rehearsal or a gig or a worship service. It's almost like a groove insurance policy. So what is this extra step, this insurance policy to make sure you're not stumbling around during a song? Well, if you've got the part down at the speed on the recording, so in this case 139 beats per minute, you might feel like you can just stop your practice there and call it a day. However, just going that little bit further guarantees you'll keep up with other real musicians when the time comes. And that means practicing every song faster than its actual tempo. So if playing at 139 beats per minute is only just within your comfort zone, there's always going to be a chance that you might stumble around at the cliff's edge, You want to be your top speed to be faster than the actual track. So when you play it at the actual tempo, you're not struggling. You're not at the very edge of your abilities. Also, just from a practical point of view, there's a very good chance that, if you play, with a crowd or just, a drummer who's got a lot of adrenaline, you might end up playing faster than the record's tempo anyway. And that's when this insurance policy is really going to pay off. You won't feel like you can't keep up and that your rhythm is sloppy. You'll be in the pocket because your tempo is well within your abilities. So let's play this bass line at 155 beats per minute, which will sound like this. 3, 4. Yeah? Definitely faster than recording, right? But let's give it a try. Yeah? It's not that unheard of for, to get in front of a live audience, get all excited, not unheard of for the tempos to slide up a little bit. So unless your band is playing to a click, then being able to play the bass line at a faster tempo is going to be super, super important. And by the way, all these tracks, like I've been saying, even the fast one is available as a free download by clicking the link in the description. Now, if you're still finding it hard to lock in, let me share just another quick little tip. Now, one way to get a good sense of time is to physically do something in time with the music. So, tap your foot or nod your head to the beat. This is, something you may be doing naturally already, but if not, give it a try. I recommend tapping your foot on either all 4 beats, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or even just beats 1 and 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's just something about moving to the pulse of the song with your body that really gives you a good grounding and good sense of the time. Always feeling that pulse is key to having good timing. And if you're feeling it in your body as well as in your mind, even if your mind wanders just a little bit, then your body is still there keeping the time for you. So if we go back to maybe one of the slower ones. Oh, there we go. 3, 4. So, on my left leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. beats 1 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I messed it up. I'm thinking about too many things. Yeah, just like that. It's not going crazy, but you know, either 1, 2, 3, 4 or just 1 and 3, that's going to be totally fine. It's also going to help a lot to really listen in and focus on what the drummer is doing. So listen out for the 8th notes on the hi-hat or a kick drum on beats 1 and 3. So in the Van Halen song, the drummer is playing 8ths on the hi-hats pretty consistently, and that is a great rhythmic cue to, you know, line things up again and marry your 8th notes up with the hi-hats if you ever do get into some rhythmic trouble. It's also important to remember that we're all just human. Sometimes even pros will make little slip-ups during a song, but the key is not letting the mistakes, you know, phase you too much. Keep calm, keep counting, you'll be able to find your place and get back into the groove easily once you're, you know, practiced at this stuff. And if you're also serious about getting rock solid timing for these sort of, you know, pumping 8th note lines, then you can download the 5 backing tracks from this lesson in the link in the description. These backing tracks will be super helpful in your practice sessions for any 8th note bass lines that you might want to master. And applying this method of starting slow and gradually speeding up, it's a proven way to become super tight rhythmically. So head to the link in the description, or click right here, fill out the form on that page, and I'll send you the tabs and tracks straight to your inbox, so I'll see you in there.